Thanks for being here. I'm going to ask you some questions about your 9/11 experience. So my first question is, where were you when it happened?
I was actually in my car driving south through Atlanta. There's really nobody in town. It was kind of middle of the day, early in the morning, just after rush hour. And I was driving through town, nobody there, on my way to see my parents with TJ, and I had just found out I was pregnant with my second child.
Right. All right, so to our second question, what were your initial thoughts when you heard about it?
Well, when I heard about it, my husband Tom called me to tell me I found out where I was. When I told him I was in downtown Atlanta, he kind of didn't want to alarm me, but told me I needed to hurry up and get out of downtown Atlanta. And then he would call me back and tell me what was going on, because I was like, well, why? He didn't really tell me at that point. Right. And I wasn't listening to the radio, so I was not aware that it actually had happened yet. It was not until I got south of the city and stopped and returned his call that he told me what was really going on. Right. He did not want me in the middle of a major city if something happened.
All right. So, this question actually doesn't apply to you since where you were. So if you were there, would you have helped or would you have gone to safety?
I think that might have depended if I had one of my children with me. If I had my child with me, I probably would have gone to safety to get him safe.
That makes sense.
On the other hand, I, at the time, was a nurse. Right. And I would probably have tried to help. Right. I mean, I've gone into the building, but tried to help those injured who were coming out. All
right. So how did you feel the days following? Or what were
I think a lot of mine were in the fact that I had just found out I was pregnant. I was thinking, what were we doing having another child, bringing them into this world, partially. And also, I think that all of us were in shock. We just could not believe that anyone truly hated America that much. Right. I mean, not that we didn't know that there are countries out there that don't like us. Right. But I don't think anybody realized the threat that was there until it occurred. Right. So we were very overwhelmed by that. And mostly just keeping everybody in our family safe where they were, because I think there was a real thought that there would be more attacks. I know that, so we kind of didn't try. I mean, once I got to my parents, my husband was like, just stay there, because it's in a very small rural area, a place that is not somewhere that would be attacked. So I stayed there for at least a week. Right. When I really just planned to spend a couple of days. Right.
So if it did, how did it change you? How did the experience change you?
Immediately, I think it changed us in that we were just more careful where we went. We were more aware who was around where we went, especially living near and around a city like Atlanta. Right. Anytime we went, we really didn't go into the city. Not that we did a lot anyway, but we really avoided being in the city. We did not travel on airplanes. Not that we didn't travel a lot by plane anyway, but we really didn't do as much traveling as probably we normally did around that time. That time we had 2 small children, so we traveled a little more. Right. And I wasn't working, so we could travel a little more.
All right. So one last thing. Did you know anyone around who lived in New York or anyone who was in the tower?
No, I did not.
All right.
Actually, and I don't think my husband did at the time. We have met people since then that lived in New York during the time. One of the moms of one of the kids I taught a few years back, she lived right there, and her husband actually, I think, worked in that building and actually was not at work that morning. He was working from home or something for some reason. So yeah.
And then one other thing. So a lot of people felt the guilt effect because either they were supposed to be on shift and someone else took their shift, or they were supposed to be there at the towers, but they weren't for various reasons. What are your thoughts on the guilt, and did you have any?
I think that is normal. Being a nurse, you see people that have what they call survivor guilt. And any time that you're in any type of accident or major incident such as that, people have what they call survivor guilt.
Right.
And being a nurse, I've seen a lot of that, but I truly believe that not that God does not plan evil things like that to occur. It's not something that He knows is going to occur, but I think God has a plan for each of us.
Right.
And so, if you weren't there, you just were not meant to be there.
Right.
At that moment.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me ask you the questions. And I love you.